Well, aloha. As I get adjusted here, things running a little bit behind this afternoon. I spent the better part of the morning, if I can get my mic to set up properly, spent the better part of the morning moving bricks around the backyard. So, woohoo. We have a new taker in Synergasia, but we're going to have to think about placing. That's awesome! Awesome. Another writer added to the fold. I'm all for that. I'm trying to get Windows to cooperate with me. All right. How you guys doing? How's everybody doing? A good weekend? It's jumpy today. Yeah. Too many things are going on. I'm not sure what's going on today. So we'll have to hope that Twitch kind of settles itself out. Even the chat is behind. I've got chat window going and things are just kind of acting a little funky today, so we'll have to see. But welcome to the Kahuna Lair. Welcome to another Kahuna Reads. Today's going to be interesting because I don't have a whole ton of stuff to read. Not sure why. Alright, so you're getting frozen video and audio. Well, that's no fun whatsoever. Oh, looks like I might be able to fix some of this. Alright. Yeah, it looks like I lost a lot of frames there, but things are starting to settle down. Massive buffering. It's going to get there. Give it a couple minutes whenever it goes live. Glarvol says, reception there is horrible to begin with. Okay. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm seeing that chat is taking forever long to work. Noisy fan made for cleaning. Okay, hopefully things are catching up. Huh. That's not a bad idea. For some reason, one of my windows has gotten incredibly large chat stuff. So hopefully things are catching up. We're going to exit this, which is probably slowing me way down. I've found that if I have Chrome up with more than 2 tabs, maybe 3, things go dropping a lot of frames. Yeah, it'll catch up here in a minute. Hopefully, yeah, it seems like things are starting to react better on this end. So hopefully I'm not dropping too many of them. Because things are starting to respond a little better on this end. So we'll see how things go here. Yeah, I saw that it had dropped 100% there for a few seconds. Audio was passable. Okay. Well, that's better than not hearing it all, but hopefully, well, like I said, we'll give it a few seconds here and see what happens. Hopefully things are improving. Way behind on the stream. You're probably. It's catching up. The vagaries of technology. See what happens when I'm away from the computer for 2 days? Not even 2 days. I was away from the computer for like 46 hours. It just means I have to start even earlier before my streams, so I can get everything running. So, hopefully everyone will bear with me here while I try to get things running. Well, we're down to only 99% now. I have have windows that are too small, and everything's just kind of going a little wonky on me here. I've had music drop. This is fun. All right, how we doing? Gonna grab a second art. Yeah, I will grab one or two. I don't have a whole lot to read today. So I will grab some Sine Gracia
articles.
That's my confused voice.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, Glarvold, this probably isn't you this time. This is probably me, because I'm seeing just lots and lots of lag. Bob's going to be right back. So hopefully here, as things settle into the stream, we'll get a little bit better. You can hear me now, but I'm frozen. Awesome. That means it's sending the audio, but the video is still freezing. So we'll have to just hang on to that for a minute. And, you know, like I said, we'll let stuff settle out first. Everything should be coming. So, still buffering, may have to catch the VOD. Sorry to hear that. I'm hoping things, you know, improve here in the next minute or so. Yeah, it's starting to get better, because I see now we're only down to 88% of lost frames, so it's starting to catch up with me. So, you know, if you can, hang tight. If not, I understand. Over the last couple days, I've been compiling lists of voices that I can do. It has gotten quite long. Quite long. We're well over 40 names now. And then all of a sudden I'll come up and I go, oh, there's one I hadn't thought of. Because I'll just be messing around and go, ooh. In fact, I just thought of one right there. That last voice I did, I can put that on my list. I actually call that my McDonald's voice. And where that comes from is the fact that Robin Williams used to do a routine where he just came up with another one. Robin Williams used to do a routine where he talked about, you know, having a son. Just long after his son was born, he's, you know, you're looking at your son, and on one hand you're thinking he's going to grow up and he's going to do something great someday, and he's going to cure cancer, or, you know, he'll be a world leader, or you know, a titan of industry. And then there's the other thought, which is, you know, he's going to grow up and his main claim to fame is he'll be saying,
"You want fries with that?"
So that's where I got that voice. Oh, good. Well, we're down to 87% loss. So we're getting better here. It's starting to improve a little bit. So hopefully you guys will be able to see video soon. Not much I can do there, unfortunately. Yeah, I just added Gomer Pyle as well.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. It's kind of the McDonald's, but not quite.
What was I doing? What was I doing? You mean down here? I was writing note. And what was I doing before this? Or I can do a reboot. Yeah, it was just trying to get everything loaded. And something must have just killed a bunch of processor time, because I had almost nothing running. In fact, I can even close a bit more. I usually shut down almost everything before I start. The one thing I didn't do today was reboot. But that's because an hour ago things were running just fine. So, you know, some days just go that way. And now we're probably going to lose it again. Well, maybe not. There we go. Let's just close that. That should help it some. So we'll see how things, see if anything improves here. Hopefully. We got down to just almost bare nothing running at this point. So, hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. Like I said earlier, I spent a good portion of my time this morning moving concrete blocks around the backyard. My stamina isn't what it used to be when it comes to physical exertion. So, moving 25-pound blocks of concrete around it just doesn't do a whole lot of good for me. I can move 6 blocks and then I have to take a 15-minute break, which is what I did. Let's see. Whoop, yeah. As I was shutting things down, we got back up to 95. So hopefully things will settle out here. Oh, awesome. Something decided to update. That's where my problem is. Things are deciding to update in the background while I'm on stream. Thanks, Windows.
Gomer Pyle. That's right, it was Gomer Pyle. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I haven't heard Gomer Pyle in ages, so that's probably close, but not quite. But I can do Gomer Pyle. Just glad you can find ways to break my monster down into manageable. Oh yeah, not a problem. I'm finding there's beats about every 2,500 words, which works. About every 2,500 words, I can find it, and we're good there. So that's not a big problem. I've got it in there, and seems like we're going to have a little bit more of the racy character here. What was her name? Her name was Agnes, right? Yeah, Agnes. Agnes will be there. So, where are we at? 93, so it's getting better. All right. I've stalled as much as I can. We're almost 15 minutes in, so I need to start reading. So hopefully the audio is not too bad. I will put all this up on video on demand later. And break things down. So, yeah, I had told Bob I'm going to go and find some of the Synergasia articles. So, see if I can find some that really kind of Synergasia, there we go. That look like they've had some good work done on them, and take a look at them and see where we are with things. And as Bob said right at the top, it looks like we have another writer coming in, another author coming in. So I think that puts us at 16. Let me see. 5, 10, 15. Oh, let's see. 5, 9, 15. So one more would put us at 16. So that's really cool. By the way, one of the things that I have been doing, trying on a weekly sort of basis, is to have the Synergasia Sentinel come out. I think I'm actually going to start with that one, and then we'll look at some other articles. The Synergasia Sentinel is like a weekly newspaper. Let's see if it's even still up there. There we are. The Synergazia Sentinel. It's the weekly newspaper in print for the world of Synergazia. I am looking for people who will want to contribute short articles about their region to the Synergazia Sentinel. Look for a Discord channel coming soon so that everybody can see that. Let me put it up so you can see the screen here. We'll take a second to catch up. Yeah, we're still running with a lot of frames being eaten up. I think I can. There it is. So there it is. There's the front page of the Synergazia Sentinel. This is volume 1, number 2. I got to figure out a way to fix a problem in the top there. The title, I would like the title to just be Synergazia Sentinel up there, but that is the title of the article. And so you can't duplicate the name because it really hoses things. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to change that up a little bit. I think I've got one, but this is all a sub-theme, by the way. This is the newspaper sub-theme. Just like I've told folks in regions to go ahead and put the name of your region as a sub-theme so we can give you some CSS changes. This one is newspaper. If you use newspaper, you'll get this one. There are different things, different things are formatted. I'm glad to give anybody a look at that if they want to. If you ever want to use this on yours, and you can tweak it as you like. But so the headline here is Stolen! The search continues for the real Prompt 4. Actually, that should be read more in a newsy kind of a voice, the newsreel type. Stolen! The search continues for the real Prompt 4. A body double. Olympus. The fourth prompt, an important piece of planning and creativity sent down by the big guys on Olympus, has disappeared, and our crack team of journalists may have opened a lead into the disappearance. Through communication with a variety of anonymous sources, it is now believed that the work was stolen by a body double, a doppelganger, or some other form of shape-shifting being, although the reason for such a theft is still unclear. The prompt went missing sometime in the last 10 days, and while no one reported seeing it, many have been affected by its disappearance. What's in a name? The missing missive was designed to help builders around the world with naming conventions for their peoples. Since the disappearance, thousands have lost all idea of how they were named and what to name future children. Befuddled, they walk around aimlessly trying to put together various consonants and vowels, often with disastrous results. In one town, parents tried to name their child ASDFIJWA, but found that no one was able to understand them when they said it. Good idea, I'll kill the background music. It's just... that could be eating things up a little bit. Background music is now dead. I have killed it. It is gone. Authorities seek help. The Chief Investigative Unit for Synergazian Robberies, XXXXX, that's their actual name, not a mistake, is seeking the assistance of anyone who might have information on the theft of Prompt 4. No ransom request has been put forward, nor has anyone made a claim to have been responsible. It's as if the prompt was simply deleted from Synergazia. Still, there is hope that at least the thieves can be brought to justice. In addition to information, the XXXXX, still their real name, has asked that citizens exercise utmost caution when traveling the back alleys around Synergazia, and to pay close attention if they see any signs that say, "Are you sure?" as these are designed to avoid any further mishaps and destruction. Private firm joins the effort. Olympus. The investigated firm of Stone and Trowell have offered assistance in finding the missing Prompt 4. Lead investigator Seamus Trowell has vowed to not stop until he finds the culprits and has personally guaranteed results or citizens can have their money back. The XXXXX are not supportive of Trowell's involvement and pointed out that citizens aren't paying him anything, making the XXXXX dubious of Trowell's guarantee claims. There has been some support from lay citizens who now are buying trench coats and fedoras by the hundreds. Trowell is known for nearly capturing the thief of Potemkin, almost arresting the bug-eyed burglar, and coming oh so close to almost apprehending the robber not mentioned in this story. Stay safe. Lava floor is the answer. If the floor is lava, burglars will have an extra hard time getting in. A professionally installed lava floor is the ultimate deterrent. Call your RP&K representative today. Not responsible for singed drapery, damaged furniture, or brimstone scent. Synagazia Sentinel hits a milestone. 2nd edition. Who'd have thought it? The Sentinel is now on its 2nd edition, following the successful release of the 1st edition and the mop-up after the RPG&K celebration party and warehouse fire. While no Synagazians were injured in the hellish inferno, more than one hamburger was sacrificed to the hungry flames. One attendee, Jimmy No Luck, did, however, lose his favorite jacket when he tried to douse flames and instead ending up fanning them. "It may have been a hideous puke green," said No Luck, "but it was my puke green." RPG&K officials downplayed the incident, stating, "We really wanted to order pizza anyway." Lava floor for security. RPG&K have announced that they have begun taking orders for installation of Lava Floor, a revolutionary new security device that any Synagazian would be proud to have. After watching some Olympian children playing The Floor is Lava in their living room, the powers that be thought, why not? Never to be constrained by bad ideas, RPG&K has developed an installable lava floor that not only deters burglars, but makes it fun to get around the house. Burglars will be hard-pressed to survive the 3,000-degree molten rock should they try to enter. RPG&K has also developed a high-powered air conditioning unit to install at the same time, at a small additional cost, to keep the temperature inside the home below the singe point. RPG&K say there is no truth to the rumor that the warehouse party conflagration was related in any way to the product release. Stringers sought. The Synagazia Sentinel is seeking writers from all regions to supply stories for the Sentinel. Stringers must be able to speak all languages of their region as well as the Synagazian Common Language. Pay is negotiable as long as you are not seeking any pay. You will, however, receive exposure and perhaps gain favor with the Olympians. You may also gain pre-release access to new RPG&K products at your own risk. If interested, contact the Synagazia Sentinel directly. Do not send resumes, writing samples, tithes, or sacrifices. Bribes, however, may be considered. Kajitan is the new writer. Okay, so this has been the Synagazia Sentinel. So there you go. I had fun writing that, and as I'm reading it, I'm finding I really should have done a better job spell checking. So that is the Synagazia Sentinel. I'll try to put something out like that about every week and a half. Video frozen again. I don't know why that would be. At this point, there's nothing running. Nothing. All I'm doing is changing between pages. And it looks good on my end. I think we're having a Twitch issue. All right, let's see here. I think we've read Exploration Alliance. Read that. Well, let's go into regions here. Let's just start picking around regions. Only 3 minutes for the newspaper to appear. Wow. So you heard the whole thing, and then the newspaper showed up? Wow. Okay. This is going to be interesting. So, I'm looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We apparently have a lot of people who have regions, but who haven't written. And that's okay. There's no requirement here. But man, I'd love to see some more done. But let's go into this one. Arcesia, the people in Arcesia. Actually, let's go to the Great Church article. That's the top article in People in Arcesia. Let's go to the Great Church. All right, we can read this. All right. So it seems like video might be catching up, I hope. The Great Church is the only official religion in Arcesia. Any secession groups, like the Greater Church and the Greatest Church, are led by evil heathens without any moral qualms. Their church wardens only try to enrich themselves, not caring that they will lead your soul to eternal suffering. Of course, they say exactly the same about the Great Church. Unofficially, there is tentative cooperation in some remote areas. In other areas, any heathen will be chased out of town, covered in tar and feathers, if she's lucky. Due to the sparse population of the land, there is no all-out war. However, a traveler would be wise not to mention the church they belong to, unless she's sure it's the right one. Saying you do not believe is never an option, not even for the wise women and men who are rumored to dabble with the supernatural world. It is wise not to follow the person who guides you to the fairies. Officially, everyone is a member of the Great Church. Most people do attend regular church services. It's a way to socialize with other people. Church officials are also economical and political leaders. Or the other way around, there's no separation of church and state. If you want to become rich, church leadership is your best bet. However, the church wants the most blessed leaders. Thus they choose the richest, most connected, and decently educated people. After all, it takes a lot of time to pray for the souls of the most unfortunate. Working 16 hours a day on the fields does exclude you from that, unfortunately. The helper and companion watch over you. Together, they keep an eye over you, which you see in the sky at regular intervals. You are the pupil. You are supposed to follow the guidance of the helper and the companion without question. The church will interpret their wishes and assist you with following them. Questioning the authority of the church is not good for your soul. The helper might not want to assist you to your afterlife if you did not help them in your life. People who are good followers of the teaching of the church are blessed with worldly rewards. But your main reward will await you after your death. I hear a bit of sarcasm in that one. I like it. Sarcasm's good. Makes for good humor. All right, we're going to try something funky here. Anybody got a D20 on them? Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it because it's a lot easier than that than have everybody search up a D20. And actually, we're going to use a D20. We'll use 2 D20s. Where's the other one? Nope, that's not a 20. Got another one in here. Nope. Where are you? There you are. 2 D20s. So I got like 40-some names on here. On my list. We're going to do random voices for the next one. What shall we look at here? So I'm waiting for the Synergasia page to load back up. How's the video, guys? Is it getting a little better? Maybe? Yes? No? I hope. Oh, let's see who else we got here. Well, I could have just done it from here, I guess. Regions. Wellned. Let's see if we got any articles in there. Zawiuk. Let's look at that article. Zawik, I guess Zawik. Oh, okay, it's a short one. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a D20, two D20s. One of them's going to dictate which half of my list I read from. The other one will dictate the name. So let's see. So we got, the name will be the 8th name, and since this is a 15, it'll be from the second half of the list. So, this is it. I don't have a random wheel of names. Could probably come up with one, though. Kind of funny to do a random wheel of names with a sound. Yes, now I have a project for next week. Random wheel of sound. All right, so let me go down here. That's 5, 10, 15, 20. That's the first 20 there. 5, 10, 15, and 20 there. All right, so we said the 8th name in the second list. So that would be, wow, Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson. Cowabunga, man. I'm going to try it. Let's see what happens. I'm actually going to move my mic a little closer because I might need a little bit of help with the control here. Wonder if I could actually listen to myself here. Oh, let's see. Let's see, can I hear myself? Not yet. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can hear myself now. All right. Cowabunga. That doesn't sound like him. Well, I'll try it, and we'll see what happens.
Zawik, in its simplest description, is magic. The energy that provides the means by which mere mortals may produce wondrous effects by twisting energy around their very fingertips. It's in the air, ground, and water, saturating the fabric of existence and yet undecipherable to current technology. Sound more like Lisa. Zawik is technically accessible by any intelligent being, with varying degrees of difficulty due to factors as method of channeling magic, hereditary traits, magic that is already affecting the caster, use of the magic being channeled, environmental factors, i.e. moon phases and humidity, and additional equipment. It's a form of energy, and as such cannot be created or destroyed. It can, however, be altered to the point where it is rendered useless or even harmful. This is not Bart Simpson. In addition, while it seems to follow the first laws of thermodynamics, Zawik also seems to have some sort of property that attracts more Zawik to itself, akin to a gravitational pull. This attraction property, combined with some organisms' ability to convert other kinds of energy into Zawik, has in the past fooled people into thinking Zawik is alive and can propagate. Zawik is rarely seen, just like how you cannot usually see electricity. However, Zawik will sometimes produce a glow or mirage where there is a large cow kick. Cow kick. Everything living in Umwalnid has some Zawik in it. It is theorized that it may help guide electrical impulses and chemical balances, but research is rare due to lack of funding and equipment. A cleaver Zawender can produce a gust of wind, small flame, and even decent shock through basic manipulation of Zawik. However, If an eager practitioner wishes to generate a more spectacular or harmful effect, they must exhaust a larger amount of their personal energy and must most likely some extra they have stored in small objects.
Uh-oh! They're coming aboard! Hopefully things get a little bit better for them. Welcome aboard! Welcome, friends! The captain welcomes you aboard. Please, take your seats. The smoking lamp has been extinguished. How's everybody doing? Depending on how things are going, the video may or may not be running very well. So hopefully you guys can see this. I have a dice roller bot in my Discord. Cam is frozen. Yeah, it's we're having Twitch issues. So apparently the audio is running, but the video is just not cooperating. It's dropping lots and lots of frames, and I have no idea why. So I'm just kind of reading, and hopefully you can see something while I'm reading. So welcome aboard, friends. And hopefully, at some point the video actually starts to catch up. If not, the video portion will be on the video on demand. A 3 and a 1. A 3 and a 1. Okay, so 3 would be the voice in the first half. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Well, Tom Hiddleston in general, reading something. So let's see if we can find something for me to read as Tom Hiddleston. I actually was working on this while I was out in the yard today. Video is not any better. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. The Collies. Let's see there. The people of the Collies. Let's see if I've read this. So welcome everybody. Yeah, I was walking around the yard, believe it or not, actually thinking, could I do Tom Hiddleston? And I think I can. All right. So, my attempt at Tom Hiddleston, particularly in his Thor incarnation. The people of the Kalis. The Kalis is a wild primordial land where dinosaurs roam. Tribes of humanity have established the barest footholds among the Kalis jungle, savanna, rocky highlands, and wild rivers. The Uimauyu are the boldest who hunt the beasts of the land. The Hakaishai are the wisest who seek to live in harmony. And the Sinchimayu are the fleetest who do their best to remain unseen. In this lush but dangerous landscape, resources are plentiful, but competition is fierce from beasts and humans alike. No matter how the tribal humans choose to survive the Kalis, all of them shun the Chewaka Firelands, a charred, dangerous landscape where ash falls like snow and razor-sharp rocks are cut by streams of lava. That is the home of the ruthless and tyrannical lizard folk known as the Grak. The Chewaka Firelands are seeded with minerals and ore by the mighty volcano Zaxarkol. Rising into the sky like a foul omen, the plumes from its peak can be seen from almost anywhere in the Kalis. It is said that within this mountain of fire dwells the Grak god. Known to the humans as Shriek or the Screaming Wind, the Grak god is a terrible legend. Any humans unfortunate enough to counter a Grak hunting party are taken captive. They work as slaves in the Grak mines until the day they are no longer useful. It is then that the broken tribe folk are cast into Zaxar Gol as a sacrifice to Shriek. All right, the people of the Kalis. Hopefully that was something close to Tom Hiddleston. Let's see what I got here. Got a scroll back through the chat here just to see what I've got here. And yes, I do see the chat, but it's lagging a lot. Stream. Wasn't really complaining, but I get your point. Forgot to add the lol. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, for all the lags. It's just I have no idea what's going on. It's still skipping frames. I really need to get a new computer. Yeah, it's on the list. So, you know, if you tell a friend to watch the stream, warn me ahead of time so I can make sure things work. All right, so that was my version of Tom Hiddleston. Again, some of these I are brand new to me. I've never done a Tom Hiddleston, so some of these on the list are experiments. So we'll see how they work. Yeah, there's probably quite a bit of delays from what I'm finding out. So that's why I'm kind of like just taking my time. 5-minute delay. Oof. Not sure where to go with that. At least it's keeping me online. It doesn't drop me, but sheesh, 5-minute delay. So anything I say is not going to show up for 5 minutes. Wow. We're time traveling, friends. Time traveling into the past. Cool. Thank you for letting me know that that the voice is clear. Yeah, I'm seeing chat looks like relatively real time because it says 3 to 5 minutes since we boarded, which is about right for the chat. So I'm seeing that in real time, but you guys aren't apparently not hearing me for 3 to 5 minutes, so it's a little on the odd side there. Just by the way, other than one long article, the piece that I started last week, I have no real submissions this week. The last ones I saw were from Siobhan, which I think we've read both of them already. So, I'm kind of just flipping through stuff here and trying to find something to read. So if you guys have something you'd like me to read, pop it in there, and then, you'll see it 5 minutes later. Let's see. This one is from the Magics of Zagalar. From the Zagalar region. And yes, I'm going through the Synergazia ones because I think we need to give Synergazia folks some love. So I'm going to roll my d20s again. Here we are. Random voice time. So it's going to be voice 18 from the second half. It's going to be Mrs. Doubtfire. Well, this will be fun. So, Mrs. Doubtfire reading Magic in Zagalar. Oh, hello! Magic in Zagalar. Magic users are often called witches and mages. The two users study in the different forms of magic. Vampires, Veslav, and the hunters are capable of using magic at a lower quality than witches and mages. Anyone can learn magic, but it comes more naturally to those who have the magical gene quintessence. These people are called sources, often having some traumatic experience to awaken these magical abilities. Hang on, this isn't sounding very Mrs. Doubtfire-ish. No, it needs more of an accent, doesn't it? Yes, let's try that again.
Magic users are often called witches and mages, the two users study in the different forms of magic. Vampires, Veslav and the hunters, are capable of using magic just at a lower quality than witches and mages. Anyone can learn magic, but it comes more naturally to those who have the magical gene quintessence. These people are called sources, often having some traumatic experience to awaken these magical abilities. They are the Seraphics and the Grintals that have magic infused within their very soul. Each of the magics is based upon the 6 sects of magic. The 6 sects are Igna, Un, Vinsvar, Hel, Dis, and Full. The vampires, Veslav and the hunters are at the bottom of the magic hierarchy. Then the moderate users, witches, mages, seraphics, and grintals. After that, the crones. When the conjunction happened, and the portals opened out to a strange and different plane, the land of Zegalar glowed and burned, causing those charred lines of a spider web to infuse the land with magic, as well as giving many of the inhabitants the magical gene quintessence. Once the quintessence was embedded into the very souls of the Zegalarian people, the Zegalarian people began to experience large outbursts of their newfound magical talents. When the magically empowered Zegalarian people began to get out of control, the Seraphics decided to take control of the situation and created the Hunters. Oh, these Hunters would serve as the judge, jury, and executioner of all the magic folk in the shadows of the mortal coils. After the Hunters were created, the many cities of Zegalar began to die down on the magic, fearing for their very lives. Then they began making quick work of all the magical folk. This is known as the First Reckoning. The first magical sects were Igna, Un, and Vinslar. During the First Reckoning, once ended, a hunter by the name of Daniel Hitch found out the other 3 sects of magic, Hel, Dis, and Full. After this discovery, the lodge's bookkeeper, Corvus Crone, had to recatalogue his book and do more research on the other sects. The ley lines of the magic are everywhere, spreading throughout Zegalar like blood vessels. The major and strongest of the ley lines are the places where the sects connect. Places like Flameheart, Seagrove, Permafrost Temple, Gulveg's Skull, the Sanctum of Numa, and Chernobog's Lake.
Time travel's a bonus. Bob's off for dinner. He hopes he'll be back before the end. That's what I'm seeing right now in the chat. So hopefully I'm catching up here. Looks like the frames are starting to catch up. So I'm not going to do anything to mess that up. Yes, Mrs. Doubtfire. Thank you. It took me a minute there to get into it, and it's still not quite there. I drop a little too low sometimes. So, Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, you guys are a good 5 minutes behind me. So, let's see what else I got here. The next one we'll do in the voice of... Let's see, second half and number 15. Second half, number 15. This is Rocky Balboa. Adrian. Let me see what we got to read as Rocky. That was Zegalar. We'll go to Utramorch. This ought to be interesting because if there's names that are hard to pronounce, they'll probably be hard to understand from Rocky. Let's see. Dunkria. No, Dunkria. Dunkria. Right. All right. What's it we got here? All right, so this is going to be read as Rocky Balboa. Good luck to all of us. Growing up, I thought my school bully was an arrogant bastard. Then I went north towards the capital and I found hundreds of fools just like him. Now, I almost feel sorry for the poor guy. His arrogance pales in comparison to most Dunkria. The Dunkria are... Oh boy, let me try to get into this again. Yo, the Dunkria are the doorknobs of central Uchamoch, particularly in the caldera and valley around Biari's heart. Like many of the people of Uchamoch, the Dunkria are worshippers of the great god Biari, believing them to be the greater of magic. This is especially important for the Dunkria, as their lands contain Biari's heart, a large crystal that acts as the source for most magic and power on the continent. Many believe this makes the Dunkria special amongst other Uchamokans, and they are stereotyped as arrogant mages. Even amongst other Uchamokans, the Dunkria are devout, taking part in regular rituals to Piari in order to prove their piety. Such rituals include frequent visits to the heart, daily prayer in his direction, and the offer of treasures into the lake the heart hovers above. Children, as well as machines built by Dunkria, will be anointed, uses water from this lake to give them Piari's blessing, and every member of this culture owns a flask of lake water for emergencies. Most Dunkria are stationary, growing up and dying in the same towns as their parents, with all these towns within eyesight of Piari's heart. Those Dunkria that do wander will travel even further inland towards the crystal, with those few non-central groups congregating around large concentrations of magic crystals. A distinctive feature of their homes are large windows, intended to let in the light of Biari's heart. But there will be very few walls which block this light. Dunkrian names are quite formulaic and deeply rooted in family history. Each child born with a given name previously used by a deceased member of the parent's family, typically the one most recently passed and whose name has not been claimed by a sibling. This leads to the fact that despite there being many names overall, most regions only have a small pool of names to draw from in practice, due to the low levels of movement throughout the land. Which surname is given to a child depends on the whims of the parents. A common rule is that the older doorknob in the partnership gets priority on passing their surname on. But this has become less popular over time. Many families will hyphenate their names together, leading to quite long lists. All Dunkria surnames are prefixed with ach, meaning of, with the following sections typically referring to places and things that were important to a family's past. Biari's heart floats above a lake in a vast caldera, located in the approximate center of Uchamoch. It is in and around this caldera that the Dunkria call their home. The heart is the single greatest source of magic and power in the continent. It has often been fought over by many factions within and without the locals, and much blood has been spilt. As the current protectors of the crystal, the Dunkria have the most magic and power, and have built great technological marvels. Most cutting-edge machines and elaborate spells were crafted by their hands, and many outside the central regions resent the privilege this access gives them. Disputes over power distribution have caused many divisions on the continent, especially that between Dunkria and the northeastern Okin, who were barred from the heart by vast mountains and intercultural squabbles.
I finished Mrs. Doubtfire just as you're hearing that I'm starting Mrs. Doubtfire.
You see my mouth moving at the same time as my voice. Well, that's the way it's supposed to work, I hope. We recommend avoiding the realm of light and dark. Well, I'm only reading them. I'm not really jumping into it. So that was Boogie Balboa. Again, another one I got to work on. He doesn't usually read this much, so I'm going a little slower, and I'm hoping that catches things up a little bit. I am not showing any more video delay, so hopefully things are catching up for you, and if not, at least the video is smoother. So hopefully you guys will let me know that one. Where are we at on time here? Wow, we're almost an hour in, and spent 20 minutes of that just dealing with ugly stuff. And, you know, you'll get this in 5 minutes. Hi, Aegon. This is weird. Yes, Captain. It is weird. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. We got anything up on this page yet? Well, apparently not. Oh, I'm kind of flipping through. Hey, there we go. Don't know if there's much on this one yet. Let's take a look. That's a short one. Dice roll again. All right, so it's name 12, and once again in the second half. I haven't rolled any first half ones yet. Name 12. Oh. Oh dear. I don't think I can do this one yet. Samuel L. Jackson. I won't be dropping any MFs. That's for sure. Can I do Samuel L. Jackson? Let me think. I need some... Nope. I can't hear it in my head at all. I'm back. Also just put myself on the schedule to cover Writer Grade tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm really hoping that Writer Greg is feeling better soon. I really do. He's a great guy, and I really was... it really saddened me to hear that he was not doing well. So hopefully it stays not too terrible, and he's back on his feet soon. All right, I'm re-rolling because that last one just didn't work. Man, another high one. Let's see. 5, 10, 15. That's what I just did. 10 in the first half. Hey, there we go. All right. Bill Clinton. So I'm going to read the Gray Northerners as Bill Clinton. All right. Here we go. In the northern areas of Grayburn. Well, hang on. In the northern areas of Grayburn, winters include large periods of snowfall and freezing temperatures. This has greatly impacted how settlements develop there. Special winter crops, large food stores, firewood supplies, insulation, and thick clothes are all very important. The further north you get, the more measures are required. Yet, with the harsh environment also come specialties that trade well. Furs, crops, tree types, and of course, the ice farms. 2 primary building techniques are used in the north. The first is gabled brick houses with double-layered walls and insulation, designed to keep the heat in as much as possible while being protected against snowfall. The second is underground houses
with minimal exposure to the cold. Underground houses are always built with ventilation in mind, and 2 exits in case one gets snowed in. In villages, some people sleep in the same room as livestock in winter to require. Article's not really finished yet, and that's okay, because we can just keep going on like this for as long as we like. Video's fine, but there's a massive lag on chat. Yep, I understand. Moonflower says, changing up every article I have, so a lot of stuff makes no sense right now. I can understand that. Why am I still doing Bill?
Bubba. All right, what else we got? And again, sorry that there's no background music. I had to take everything down as much as possible to just keep things running. Very massive lag, yeah. That definitely, the chat is not my lag. I know that much. Chat can't be my lag. I think we're just having Twitch issues. Let's go into Francalia here. All right, kind of like. Let the dice roll. All right, first half, voice 13. Oh, no. Oh, man. I'll try it. It's Harry Carey. Oh, friends. The people of Francalia have believed in one god, Belen, has many manifestations for millennia. Belen is a fair god, known to have unlimited powers and creators of the world. Toy, Belen, I pray, make the wheat turn gold in your image. Make the rain fall and turn warm as your hands, that all might eat and drink under your wise shoulders. As the traditional prayer of Belen, excavators have recently discovered a ritual chamber which they place at 2,000 years old at the foot of Mount Joie in the Rochefort Valley, for which they believe is the most ancient sacred place dedicated to Belen in the whole of Francalia. The chamber was contained with a partially open grotto and a clearly visible man-made granite altar can be seen within the shelter. I don't know what I'm doing with this voice. While digging around the altar, bird remains have been found. Eagles, hawks, crows, and ravens. This will be an indication that our ancestors already held the belief that birds contain a piece of Belen's soul and were seen as one of his manifestations on the terra of Francalia. Soon after the first millennia, the Order of the Seers was created by Divinateur Kalain and quickly established themselves as the human manifestation of Belen on Terra. Kalain was thought to be Belen reincarnated in this world and had a huge following throughout Terra during his lifespan. Many miracles and other deeds have been ascribed to him and recorded in the Book of the Divinations. What was that voice? Oof. Seers and divinators have evolved a complex set of rituals to officiate as intermediaries between Francalians and the god. These are collectively called the rites and have been given its popular name to the religion of Belen. Seers and divinators themselves are organized in powerful factions called orders. One order will officiate within a prescribed area and collect all the Don's gifts from that area. Over time, the Dons have made some orders very rich and powerful. An order would own their own lands and most of the sacred places they officiate from. Many orders are led by aristocracies, and there are clear links between the religious organizations and secular powers. So that's Harry Carey. 6 to 7 minutes. Man, that's huge. This is weird. So I'm not sure what is going on with that. So like I said, I'm taking my time in between. Hopefully it catches up a little bit because it doesn't have anything new going. Well, we're into the second hour, such as it is. We have some from Aquilanus. Oh, there's a whole lot. We've read, I think, a lot of these. Let me see if about religions, see if that's a complete article. Worst case, I can go into our long article from Glarble. Whew. That's a longer article. All right, we'll try this one. Let's see what kind of voice we can do here. So it's in the first half, voice 20. What is that? Christian Bale as Batman. Oh, I'm going to need some hydration before this one. Christian Bale as Batman, reading Regions in Aquilanus. Aqua beliefs. Rane is the goddess of life. She's a great sea snake. As snakes shed their skins, leave them behind, and continue their lives in a new skin, so can the Aqua shed their old lives in death and live anew, reborn. As Rani swam through the age of her father's sea, she created life beneath the waves. This pleased Aegir, and he proposed to Rani, who accepted. Together, they had 8 daughters. Herona, mistress of the ebb tide. Himina, mistress of the flow tide. Dufana, mistress of the riptide. Drofnai, mistress of the surge tide. Bloodhada, mistress of the crimson tide. Bilaja, mistress of the monster tide. Kola and Ghana, twin mistresses of eventide. The Asurus are both terrified and devoted to their god Leviathan, eater of all. Others are prey to be hunted and consumed. The bigger the prey, the more like Leviathan Asurus is seen, earning fear and loyalty from his or her own school. Schools hunt larger prey impossible for one Asurus to kill, to prove their school is more Leviathan than any other. Schools of few numbers or of lesser hunters become prey to other schools, until they prove they are not prey by fending off and eating an attacking school. The Pandians believe that Kalis, god of the sky, embraces them when they fly. For ages they dreamed of living up in the sky instead of on the slopes of Mount Nimrud. Then, the great Numerus Ulcinius Viturius made it possible to live upon the clouds in the glory of Kalis' embrace. The Pandians care nothing for Uruk, the island where Mount Nimrud once stood.
Now they bring glory to Kalis by diving into the seas and bringing back fish or treasure. Religion means little to the Firians. Mount Nimrud is considered sacred, as it's where they learn smithing in its flowing rock. The Numis worship a three-headed turtle god named Thaltahu. Each head has its own name and divine purpose. Lokatal is the godhead of rain and storms, bringing coolness to Uruk when Mount Nimrud spews its fire. Zalkat is the godhead of knowledge and learning, bringing wisdom and skills to the Numis so they can survive. Pokaz is the godhead of destiny, weaving the fate of every Numis like the roots of the mangroves. The Dafi worship Namu, the goddess of horizons. They believe she created the moons, the sun, and the stars. As she charts their travels from horizon to horizon, so too does she chart the lives of the Dafi. The Pinafel worship the great turtle god Dunbatter. The god of sea currents, Dunbatter guides his people, the Pinafel, as their herds of mighty crabs forage along the seafloor following the currents. With their homes of shell and coral built upon the backs of these crabs, the Pinafel travel everywhere, providing trade between all the peoples below and above the waves because of Dunbatter's grace of the currents. The Harpina worship Tabidi, the goddess of the red moon. She demands they sing her praises as they offer her the blood of others. In return, she has made their voices powerful so they can enchant and entice others. The Phoenixi worship two gods. Inzak, the god of all waters who rides a goat Mera, and Mescala, the goddess of fertility and nature who rides a mighty white lion with a white mane and blue eyes. The Phoenixi believe that they are married and together created all life. The Chalco, those Phoenixi who farm, mine, and make wines, believe more strongly in Inzak, as the rains and storms are vital to the success of their crops and orchards. The Cannon, those Phoenixi who are herders, that take their herds from wintering ranges to summer ranges, believe more strongly in Mescala, to give them strength against those things that would kill and eat their herds. I'm Batman.
Whew. Alright. It looks like the video is behaving better. Although it still may be behind. I am seeing your chats. So if that's 6 or 7 minutes behind, as I'm saying this now, you're probably just getting the start of Batman. So this is still going to make things funky. So having said that, I think I'm going to switch over to the long article, because that is going to put us fairly close to the end of the stream. And I know some of you are like, thank goodness. So this is part 2 of Where the Magic Comes From by Glarbol. We were introduced to all the characters, or at least a number of the characters, in the first episode. In this second episode, we are going to continue the story. When last we visited the story, we had been toured around the research facility by Steve, our older guy. Late for me, but cannot sleep. Nice reading. Thank you. Thank you, Moondare. Appreciate it. Let's see. So, and everybody was coming out because he had just tried an experiment and things seemed to go, from what I can tell, surprisingly well, despite the fact that it shouldn't have. And so that's where we pick up. Again, our narrator is a close version, getting closer by the day, of Morgan Freeman. Rose turns her eyes, and Gloria's hand slips from her face to fall limply to the floor. Rose can't help but wince at the loud smack. She turns cautious eyes to the small glowing ball of what used to be a very controlled mixture of sand-sized particles, and was now something completely different. You mean it is possible? It's actually possible? The material which reacted was less than 3%. Do you mean we have been overdosing these materials the whole time and should have been only using molecular ratios instead of percentages? It was Rose's turn to malfunction and just plop onto the floor. As this finally sunk in, a few ended up leaning on the wall, while the rest sat down where they were and sought support from whatever was nearest them. After the last one in the hall leans against the wall, John speaks for the first time in nearly an hour. I was only going to prank him by aborting it before anything started. I didn't expect this result. He gestures at the small ball of light, and there's an odd blue flash as the small ball vanishes, almost like a spark of static electricity. Fresh gasps, and then a few giggles spread throughout the group. Steve speaks up when the giggling seems to subside. I think a recalibration of our settings is in order, Gloria. Report our findings to each other in 12. There are several nods, and the group begins to disperse. Agnes stands up and stares hard at us before imperiously tapping her shoulder. She waits for a moment before a frown grows along her mouth from one end to the other. A truly terrifying sight. We quickly move down and perch on her shoulder where indicated, the swell of her bosom just at the edge of our sight. You're coming with me this time. I don't trust you yet, so I'm keeping you with me for the next little while, okay? She walks off to her room with a steady stride. No peeking. I know some of you are dirty old men and others are dirty old ladies, and even others are curious younger people, but I'm not into your voyeurism, so keep your peepers closed while I retake my shower. I'm also taking a nap before working. I'm adjusting my experiments to the new material levels. The really exciting part of this, we should be able to do a few thousand experiments before running out, and the project gets canned because we lose our funding from the organization. Her slender finger reaches up and pats the point drifting above her shoulder, and the world rocks to her taps. At least you don't work for them directly, or a report would already make things far more troublesome than they are now. With this statement, she opens her door and points at the post near the top of her bed, and slides out of the towel as we drift to the perch. Only the sounds of her cleansing herself reach us as the world dims from view. There's the feeling of being gently rocked and held for a few moments before the visual is restored, and we find 5 hours have passed on the chronometer we were facing. Agnes is holding us gently in her hand
and rocking our view just under her bosom. She shifts and places us gently on her shoulder where we were before. The view is slightly different, as her clothes seem to minimize her curves a little bit. At least, it's easier to see her screen fully this way.
Thank you for not recording my naked body. You may stay around. It was very kind of you to turn away when I dropped the towel, and then you took a nap before I was done.
Her tone is gentle.
You're a really good observer. I hope we don't scare you too much with what's going to happen now that things are going to enter high gear. The power ratio is off, and I need to see about getting Rose to recalibrate the photon delivery system and come up with a good way to deliver the radiation to the granules and incite the reaction we had last night, but on a more consistent scale, you know?
The soft glow of her wavy red hair outlines the view perfectly, as if emphasizing the graphs and notations crowding the display.
Well, no, you wouldn't know what I'm babbling about. At least not unless you understood particle physics and energy flow the way she does. It's an ionizing transference displacement capsule. For some reason, it only is able to be formed by coherent photon streams. The reaction we meet has never been reproduced in any other way.
Agnes's voice tails off, and she absently taps at the screen. She makes many small adjustments to the information on the screen before spinning her chair hard as a sigh explodes from her lips. The spinning is decently fast the first 2 revolutions, and then the motion stops completely just before the 6th revolution finishes.
Okay, so the adjustments won't really be a problem, but I have to go and talk with Karen now. I swear, if that woman tries treating me like a blasted godforsaken machine again, I'm going to kick her in the stomach and just walk away.
She jumps up in a huff, causing some visual problems as parts jiggle into the way.
Oh, sorry, I have to mind my manners with a guest on my shoulder. Still not used to sharing my view. I am not a stripper, but it is so very much fun to tease. And I can get carried away in it. I'll take the teasing down several notches and just be a business girl for a while. How's that sound?
She crosses the room at a brisk pace and is greeted at the door by Rose, who looked like she was about to knock.
Oh, hello, Agnes. I was hoping we could chat with her together. I am assuming you understand the requirements for capturing the radiation packets in the stream, and the delivery system has to be reworked at least a little and possibly much more on the fly. We need a better dynamic range available mid-experiment, and a completely new set of parameters late-experiment.
Agnes nods, and then shrugs her shoulders.
Off to the Hellcat, then. Let's see if the powered wizard can English and people today. Honestly, I'm just hoping her peopling is actually peopling this time, instead of adjusting our dials to fix the problem.
Laughter bursts out of Rose in a short blast of mirth, and she fights back the giggles while she says,
Oh, Agnes, your poor nose has not yet recovered from the tweaking Karen gave your personality. Come now, dear, you mustn't hold it against her. She normally only has panels and diodes for company. Honestly, I'm amazed you can even English with us at all.
The girls stop talking as they spot Gloria in the hallway chatting with a very nervous-looking Karen. They both carefully move to the wall opposite the door and indicate their presence with a small cough, but don't do anything else as they listen in on the current conversation.
So we're going to need a lot more fine control in the power grid and its application to the conglomerate, Karen. Is this something we can do automatically with a watchful program, or are we going to need someone there to monitor the phasing transitions in person?
Gloria brushes her blonde hair back over her shoulder, waiting for an answer. Karen stares into the distance for several long moments before blinking and looking at Gloria.
'Tis possible, yeah. Babysitting is good for ending, and Adjusta's okay for sneeze time.
Agnes folds her arms under her breasts and sighs.
I wonder how we sound to her when we try and call things what we normally do.
Rose taps Agnes's shoulder and nods at the point resting on her shoulder.
Oh, no, it's okay, Rose. This one's not as interested in my gravity-defying feats. Sometimes it just helps to get some of the weight off my back to let me think.
Rose flicks an eyebrow up, but doesn't say anything before turning towards Karen.
Karen, dear, is there going to be a problem with a dynamic phase pulse during the warm-up and more intense bursts during the firing phase of our experiments? The last time we tried to push things higher, we exploded a few of the fuses, remember?
Karen blinks and turns a mostly vacant gaze towards Rose, off in the distance again. She begins fidgeting with the buttons of her lab coat she always wears. Agnes reacts by stepping back against the wall and even flattens herself against it, cautious eyes following every shift Karen goes through as the woman thinks. Even Gloria seems on the verge of saying something when Karen finally stirs. She reaches out and pats Gloria's shoulder as she speaks.
Yes, the little boom was a blink in the cog. Stronger flicks and picks. That will be difficult with our eyes on the prize. I suppose Balloony will need some finer controls as well.
Karen twists a button so hard on her coat the fabric bunches up, and Gloria pats the hand still on her shoulder. Karen seems to take comfort from this and continues in softer tones, the tension leaving her voice.
I will have to be there with a hanky during sneeze time. Bring better adjusters too. I can't adjust.
A snort from Agnes.
But I can be a good assistant for them, as well as helping paupers to stay put. No little bangs from the boomers. Unclear if final product meets, though.
She turns to Agnes and tilts her head to one side, a curious look in her eye. Agnes stirs and flusters about a bit, folding and unfolding her arms. The rise and fall of her bosom is a little distracted everyone there before she finally starts speaking.
Meets, yeah. So we, need to be able to, dial in or, have better focus of the power emitters. The power emitters need to be calibrated to a nearly opposite polarity from the normal runtime parameters.
Agnes finishes in a huff and is breathing hard as she stays plastered to the wall. Gloria interrupts things with her voice being really soft, almost caressing away the fear and tension thickening in the air. Karen, sweetie, we'll need to be able to flip the power output on at its tail end during the final portion of the meal. The butter is going to be okay for the bread only, and not the potatoes for the next while, okay? Gloria smooths some of the stray hair near Karen's face, and Karen releases the button from its test of character. Agnes also visibly calms down as well. A couple of blinks, and Karen responds with,
Yes, ma'am.
Oops, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Anki and Kleenex will be there. We need you adjusters, though. Ones to follow orders and commands. Can done?
Gloria nods. Karen sways back and forth for a moment before quietly going back into her room and softly closing the door. Gloria counts very slowly to 10 before putting an arm around each lady and walking them back towards the junction. After a few steps, she can no longer hold in the laugh she's been struggling with and starts laughing great gulps of laughter. After sinking to her knees with the mirth and using the wall for moral support, she is finally able to get herself back under control, and the nervous laughter of the other two dies out. Oh, Agnes, sweet Agnes, you were so funny to watch. I hate to admit it,
but seeing you flustered is a rare treat, and quite the turn-on for anyone who would go for your type. For a second, I was worried you'd pull the shirt too tight and we'd have a wardrobe malfunction to deal with as well as Karening. Gloria wipes a few trails of tears away as Agnes glares fiery death at her. That was just too much. It's easier to communicate if you learn her methods, but it's certainly not easy. I'm glad I was there. You nearly had comatose with your tension. Poor girls. Rose offers a hand to help Gloria up, and it is gratefully accepted. Agnes, might you refrain from bouncing your girls everywhere when you are struggling with uncertainty? As Gloria has stated, most distracting. Even to me, and you know how much I like males. Rose blushes a little at the blunt words, but her dignity remains as ever. Are you two done having a good laugh at my expense? Seriously, with you two around, who needs to have a pole? She continues to glare, but there are small smile lines at the corners of her eyes. She throws her hands up and gestures at the ceiling. You have no idea what it's like having a chest that defies reason. It's not even reasonably light, either. She purses her lips and struggles to hold in the smile as she continues to glare at the now chuckling companions. Huh, is all Agnes says, and flounces back toward her room. She can hear Gloria and Rose start talking again about the fun which is about to start, and the energy in Agnes's step matches the excitement in their bubbly words. If they only knew how uncomfortable it is being built to be gawked at. At least they are pretty in their own way. Karen also adjusted more than just my nose. Agnes reaches up and pats the point, rocking the worldview, before folding her arms across her chest. I'm glad you're actually here to observe something instead of being distracted by this cursed perfect body. I often wonder just whose wet dream I'm supposed to be. She spots John on the way to the lab. John, would you be willing to take over babysitting our observer for a few days? They may just hover over the lab for a while, but I have a few things to do, and I think better when I don't have to be confined. She smiles sweetly. Pretty please. John is staring at his door and may not have heard her. After a moment he blinks and looks over at Agnes. A very pretty please, if I do say so myself. Sorry. A very pretty please, if I don't say so myself. I will watch over most of the firing, so yeah, I can keep the little spot with me. He gestures, and we drift over by him. He smiles and then goes to his room. Following him, we find books everywhere. There's a very small path to the bed and the chair. The rest is piled with books, which sometimes reach as tall as John himself. There's a very clear spot on his bed, which is free of books, but the bed doesn't look like he sleeps in it. Humming to himself between words, John tells us about the experiment and how they are looking for something which could become the next easy power source for the world, or a much better method of communicating. We do know it's something humanity has never done before, because the small successes we've had created new substances which have never been recorded before, and even one which wasn't even predicted. If you want my take on it, we're doing something bordering on the magical and mysterious. He shrugs his shoulders. At least in a scientific way, we are discovering something beyond all knowledge. He nods in satisfaction and curls up in his chair, falling promptly asleep. Looking around, there are books on chemistry, astronomy, geology, plate tectonics, psychology, zoology, DNA analysis, particle physics, and quantum physics in the pile beneath us. The rest of the room is as varied
and looks to even include mythos, legends, and religious beliefs. One stack seems to be composed entirely of books on various occults and paranormal phenomenon. Just who is this John? And how can he read all this stuff? I'll wake you when he starts moving again. We should rest too.
When the lights come on, John's got his nose in one book, marking down notes about a second book, carefully positioned just behind the first one, and he seems to be comparing the third book to the first two. The third one is in his other hand. He's busy working away for a few minutes before turning to us. Oh, finally awake, I see. Do my best reading and thinking about 2.125 hours before lights on. We try to simulate a day and night cycle here, and I'm completely a morning person. Just finishing these last few things, and then we've a full day in the lab getting things programmed up and set up for the new batch of experiments they will discuss in the big meeting today. We still have 4 more hours before that meeting, so be ready. John nods to himself, makes a few notes with an added flourish to the last one. There. I know what you're thinking. A lot more time has passed than what we thought there should be, right? We have some of the absolute brightest minds in human history here in this facility, so we tend to move at blistering speeds when it interests us. Off to the lab? John gestures to the open door and allows us to lead the way. He chuckles as we stop at the door and turn back to him. With a sweeping gesture, he opens the door and also invites us to really look at the lab this time.
All right. So let's see what I got here in chat. Got to catch up here a little bit. Hopefully chat has caught up a little bit. Let's see. Dog was misbehaving a lot. Took off after the cat while coming back from his walk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to be careful with our dogs. Less than a minute of delay. Yes, we've caught up. There are 10 scientists and the pilot of the Observer and us. Okay. So, I'm trying with the voices. I think I'm almost understanding it. I think I'm almost catching on what's going on here. So, I'm trying. But that is part 2. That actually took less time than I thought. That was about 2,500 words and really only took us about just around 20 minutes. So it was a little faster than I thought. Usually it's about 100 words for a minute. So, of course, that all depends on what's doing the counting. So that's where we are now. So does anybody have any articles they'd like read? Oh, excuse me. Because we've got about roughly 20 minutes left on the stream. Whoever wrote this almost definitely does not have boobs. Well, as far as I understand, these are artificial constructs. So, they can defy gravity. There's a reference in there about this was somebody's fantasy that they created. So that's what I get out of it. So, but yeah, if you guys have an article, drop it in to the chat. Be glad to read it. Because I'm out of stuff. And we've gone through a lot of the Synergasia stuff already. So, some housekeeping in the meantime. In case you guys hadn't heard it yet, some of you I only really see on the Sunday streams. Started on Friday, but tomorrow will be more solid. And on the Kahuna Quiet streams, those are the ones I do in the morning, from around 8 to 8:15 Pacific, as long as I don't have doctor's appointments or some other rigmarole. Till probably anywhere between 1:15 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday through Friday. So it's, anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. I have added writing sprints. These are automatic writing sprints, They are on a 20-minute cycle, 15 minutes on, 5 minutes off. They are automatic, meaning they run constantly. There are sounds to let you know it's time to start. There are sounds to let you know it's time to finish. Right now, those are just randomized sounds and could be anything. But they can also, what I'm looking at doing, or what I am doing in the process of, is recording paired up sounds. So, for example, you might hear the Sesame Street count down the beginning of a sprint and then tell you the end. And if I can work it out, they'll even give you like a 60-second warning. So you'll have 3 different voices, and those 3 will match on each sprint, and then the next sprint will randomly choose another voice. And those 3 voices will talk to you. I have to do the recordings for those. So that will be something I try to do this week. I can't do it during Kahuna Quiet. I can only do it in my after hours. So it takes a little bit of time to record them. And to get them right. I like them to sound right. I like them to try, I like it to be a properly recorded voice. So hopefully that is what you guys get to see over the week. But if you are looking for just some time with maybe a little music in the background and then the dedicated sprint, come on over. I'm running it constantly. Pop in, pop out. I occasionally get raided. I try to raid as much as possible. So come on in. Enjoy the sprints. So weird hearing someone else read my words. Yeah, I can understand that. Because you have in your head what all of these should sound like. You know in your mind what each of these characters sound like, and I'm not privy to what's in your head, so I have to just kind of figure it out. Sometimes I get the wrong voice and I don't realize it till halfway through the paragraph. It's like, oh no, that was the wrong person talking. Oh, excuse me. So you'll hear me back up, or you'll hear me try something different. But that is, that is the range of it. The focus. I'm trying to understand that as well, Moonflower. I don't totally disagree with that. I think I understand what you mean, but I'm not quite sure, so I don't want to make an assumption. So there's that. Let's see. Again, I've got time probably for 1, maybe 2 reads. So if there's anything you guys want to read, drop it in chat. Be glad to read it. Comfortable, let's just say that. Okay. Now I'm getting it. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there might be ways to make it more obvious that the others are attracted to what is designed as a perfect body without it constantly being on the boobs. I can see that. Yeah, that's Glarvel, take that as you will. This is your story. It's not anybody else's. Can help but agree. Women find that sort of laser focus on their body parts uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah, and just maybe Glarvel, make it about the fact that this is an impossibly perfect body. That's maybe a way to look at it. It's impossibly perfect. There's no way it could ever be this perfect. This had to have come out of someone's brain, because there was no way nature created that. If that makes changes your focus a little bit on how that's written, then maybe you're going to get to a point that it's not the boobs. It's I feel like I'm looking at a Barbie, or I feel like I'm looking at something out of Photoshop, something along those lines. That's kind of the way I think about it. Yeah, I'm with you there in real life, Sable. I'm learning a lot of things about gender. It's one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay. Only reason I even mentioned it because she was genetically engineered that way. Yeah. Yeah. If she's meant to be a distraction, then it doesn't have to be one body part. It can be just the entirety of it. It can be that it's, again, it's it's an impossibly perfect thing. Even innuendo might be good. Like, not bad, I'm just drawn that way. And Moonflower, I would say, yeah, there's not really a blame. It's just something we need to be more aware of. I like this conversation that's going on because I think it's very easy for us to fall into stereotypes or, just not what we're familiar with. And so it makes it hard as we're writing to not fall into those traps. I'm trying to, in the story that I'm writing, I have would still be good to show. I guess it's perfect without obsession. Okay. Well, it could just be the ratio of everything. In fact, you don't even have to say what's perfect. That actually can be something you can leave open. It's impossibly perfect. That's one of the reasons that, the men might look at Agnes and say, whoa, wow. The women, however, look at Agnes and go, it just doesn't look right. They catch attention, but it's not, it's not what they just don't see it. Something's not right. It just doesn't fit. So Agnes catches their attention because it's not natural. Nothing is out of proportion, or things just aren't the way they should be in nature. That'd be my thought there. But yeah, in my story, I'm actually writing. I have two characters. One is non-binary, which is forcing me to write with pronouns, forcing me to with the correct pronouns. The other one is not non-binary, but is more gender fluid. That's a great suggestion, Moonflower. Great suggestion. Of course, I have no idea whether the chat is 5 minutes behind or not. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys for having such a great conversation here. Because I learn from you guys too. I know I have my ideas, but I come from a different perspective. Oh, we're advertising Synergasia. Sorry. Whoosh. Words are hard. Words are hard. Yeah, I think we all sometimes are trapped in what we have seen, and it's not that it's uncomfortable to get out of that. Sometimes we just don't know better. That's been a struggle I've had with non-binary writing a non-binary character. Is I don't know if I'm right. You know, I know one non-binary person. It's my kid. And they're 17, have never lived outside of the home, do not have, you know, do not have a world perspective yet. So I don't know how much weight I can put into their experiences at this time. So just something I think about. Oh yeah, I've got about 9 minutes left. I will be ending right at 5:30 here, as it is my turn to cook dinner. I'm grilling steaks tonight. So let me let's see how badly this just screws everything up when I do this. All right, there I am. See if I start dropping frames or if we're going to be okay here. It looked like it changed over fairly well. It's still showing me, oh, we're back to green. So we dropped a few frames, but not bad. And we're still dropping a few. So anyway, I hope you guys, thank you for the chat. I think I have a good idea how to move the noticing around. How subtle to make it. Okay. So they're distracted momentarily. They catch something out of their eye or just okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so like I said, we have Kahuna Quiet in the mornings. My next full stream will be Tuesday. That'll be Kahuna Help. Again, if you've got questions, Galarval, if you're still having issues with it and you want to bounce ideas off, come into Kahuna Help. That's at 3:30 Pacific on Tuesday, and be glad to bounce those ideas around. I'm a guy, so the never would have guessed. Yeah, so anybody, if you have issues with writing, or some world building, or heck, writing CSS, writing code to try to get things done, or I can show you how I created the timers for the writing sprints, the nonstop timers. I will, by the way, also be collecting points for Game of Tomes. I am simply a collector. I do not belong to any house. I'm not going to belong to any house because I don't know what writing I'm going to be doing during that time. But if you're looking to collect Game of Tomes points, Kahuna Quiet will be doing Game of Tomes on the 1st. So as soon as you guys are ready to start writing, as soon as we hit November 1st, come on in. But you can also just come in at any time, and you feel like you need to get some writing sprints in, come on over to Kahuna Quiet. I'll be happy to help you guys out there during the day. We're just about there, so I'm actually going to start looking to see who we can raid shortly. I apologize, everyone, for the technical issues. I'm sorry that it was so rough, especially in that first hour. I still have to work out how that's going to work. Aren't the same size around, so maybe two symmetrical. Oh, there you go.